Hello to my fellow KW stakeholders. Of course, it's Aaron Kaufman, Chief Stakeholder Evangelist out of Atlanta, Georgia, bringing you another episode of the My 401 KW interview series where we are going to dive deep with some of our top profit share earners and stakeholder-minded associates. And this morning's no different. We are lucky enough to talk to one of my favorite people at KW, Mr. Ashley Brunner out of Lancaster, PA. How's it going this morning, Ashley? You doing okay?
Good morning, Aaron. I'm great. Yeah. How are you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to talk to you. I know, you have an amazing market center there in Lancaster, PA, where I've been fortunate enough to come up there and speak a bunch of times. And you've got some of my favorite KW agents / stakeholders in that office. And look, before we kind of get into what you got cooking there in Lancaster, I mean, I know the last 4 years for you at KW have been off the charts. I mean, what you've been able to accomplish and what you've become at KW. But before we get into that, take us back, Ashley. Who were you before real estate? What brought you into real estate? How did you end up joining KW? And then we're going to get into, all your thoughts and wisdom around profit share. All right.
Sure, man. Thank you. Yeah. First of all, I've been watching your sessions here, your episodes, and I'm honored to be a part of it, man. Thank you so much. There's a lot of Keller famous people on these.
Yeah, there are.
So
Joe Ryan. People want to hear from people that are also, in the journey phase, and I mean, it's good to talk to Mike Brody and all these people that are, Gary Siegel, that have made millions in profit share, but. Look, you only been with KW for 4 years and, you've learned quite a bit. So I think your story, and also you're on here, Ashley, not just because, how much profit share you earn, you share a lot of the same values that I share around profit share. And, that's why you're on here, but I'm psyched that you're here and you totally belong. So let's get into this. All right.
Yeah. So, I think I'm having some internet issues here, so I'm going to stand up. So anyway, oh, good. I got into real estate like at birth, dude. Like my father, my family, my dad, commercial developer locally here in Lancaster. He reached out and he, went regionally in his commercial development stuff. We talked about owning real estate very early in my life. I mean, like, as a young person, this is what we talked about. So when I was 18, that's what I did. I got my real estate license. So I started in sales. I was a buyer's agent on a team. And I was at Coldwell Banker for years and years and years, ran my own team. And I was actually attracted to Keller Williams as a mega agent 4 years ago. So I came to Keller Williams. I burn all that sort of to the ground, right? We've heard that story a couple of times from people, right? Burn all that to the ground. Started over in model, right? So and I built it up since then into a very successful sales team. So I've been team leader for 2 years now here in Lancaster. And, it's interesting to me because the OP came to me, I was on the ALC as an agent and said, hey, look, we're who do you know that would be a great team leader? Right. And it wasn't me. Right. I was giving him referrals. He actually interviewed my wife for the job, who's in sales. And she came out of the interview and said, I think Kevin's talking about somebody like you. And I was like, whoa. Hang on. So I had that limiting belief, right? That, I was going to stay in sales. I wasn't going to be in leadership. And thankfully my OP and, had an open mind, right? We talked about how those roles exist sort of together. Yep. And I'll tell you, Aaron, my team has never been more, effective or efficient, right? Because now as team leader, I have access to tons of leadership tools, trainings, all those things. And by the way, I've tried to go to all of them, right? Yeah. So it's an interesting lifestyle, right? I thank my wife. We have young children that she allows for me to go. I don't say that like she gives me permission, but she gives me the space to go, right? It's very, very fun. I've leaned into all that I can over those 2 years. And again, my team, I'm not unlocking lock boxes anymore, but I'm running my sales team and helping them just like I would help coach any other team in the market.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And
I want to go back.
I've only been here 4 years. So.
Yeah, I want to go back a little bit here because you were at Caldwell Banker. I mean, was your father at Caldwell Banker, or was that how did you end up choosing Caldwell Banker when you came into real estate? I'm just curious.
So I was at Caldwell, a local. They had a local franchise here in Lancaster, right? Yeah. They went through a division. I guess they ended up being Prudential at some level. Then they went to Berkshire, but it was their. They were Caldwell Banker in our market for 30 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So then another company bought Caldwell Banker. They came after me, right? They attracted me there, right? Yeah. I was a buyer's agent over here, brought over, I guess attraction or recruiting was sort of in my blood. Then I took some people from there, and we started our own team, and I was there for 13 years. We built that team up. And then so I was always friends with Tim and Colleen Johns, right? I mean, they're always around. They've been around me for a long time. So it's interesting to me because I would always have these conversations about I didn't really know what the model was. Yep. Tim always had the red book, right? And we would always meet and talk about what that looks like. And he finally, I tell this story because he laughs every time. So he stopped answering my questions and just started saying, you know what, you should read the book. You know what, you should read the book. You know what, you should read the book. Right? Like all that stuff. Right. So I did it. I read the book, and then I came over to KW and I left the team at Caldwell Banker. I didn't bring anybody with me. I started fresh. And I started in model, right? Like everybody. Well, I went through the same journey I think a lot of people do, right?
Sure.
Oh, I'm not going to do it that way. I have a better way to do it. I'm going to do it my way. And I finally figured out that if you follow systems and models, it makes life easier. Right.
No doubt. I mean, people have come before you, right? I mean, and you were a buyer's agent at that time, or were you running your own business at that time at Caldwell?
So no, at Caldwell Banker, I was running my own team at that time.
Okay.
Yep.
So I know that I know a little bit about the Caldwell Banker story there in Lancaster because they came back and they sold back. So what was it about? I mean, obviously Keller Williams, and people that don't know Tim and Colleen Johns, I've actually already interviewed them. They're if you want to watch their interview, but they're two of your top agents, but they're more than just agents. Obviously, they're real stakeholder minded associates that take ownership of their experience at KW, but they're also obviously huge growth people for KW. But what was it? Talk about the history of KW and how it came on your radar. I mean, obviously you had a relationship with Tim and Colleen, but KW has not been in Lancaster that long, right? I mean, what was the impression?
7 years,
right?
7 years total.
So what talk about, look, I'm a former Caldwell Banker agent. I mean, I heard about Keller Williams from, at the water cooler and from my broker about KW. So go back to, what your impressions were of KW. What did you know about it? And obviously, your relationship with Tim and Colleen sort of opened your eyes, but talk about, I mean, we're relatively new there. So what was it about KW? What was it that was ultimately the attractor to you? I mean, was it that you were not having a great experience at Caldwell Banker, or was it you just you admired Tim and he was, you started to learn about our systems and models, and that sort of attracted you? Just talk about the evolution of your opinions about KW, because we weren't there till 7 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me as an agent, I was hunting 100%. Right. Yeah. So you build your business in these other, and by the way, Aaron, I do your dependent, independent, interdependent conversation all the time. So thank you for that.
Of course.
So I built my business there. Right. And you could never get away from the split.
Yeah.
Right. So you, at some point, your real estate intelligence goes up, right? You're successful. You're on this journey. You go I wonder what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
they have this interesting cap deal thing, right? And I was at a point where we were doing, we had 6 or 8 agents on the team. We were doing millions and millions of dollars worth of sales. And I thought, well, I wonder why I'm giving Coldwell Banker all that money.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so that's really for me what started that conversation of really. Now, again, keep in mind, I was on Tim and I were talking for years. Like Tim again, and I was the guy. Tim beat me up. We joke about that. It's okay, right? But for me as an agent, I was hunting the 100%. How can I make more money? That was it, right? Like I didn't know. And again, I'm sure everybody was on that journey at some point too. Like I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. So, but again, for me, what opened the door was 100% was this capping model.
Yeah.
We were, by the way, Keller Williams, we're in a new fun, big building now. We didn't start that way. We were, we were Keller who, big time. It was like this, it was this new model. We were everybody in our market, LCAR, Lancaster County Association of Realtors, is 1,500 agents. It's the most it's ever been.
Yeah.
Right. When I started, it was 670 or so. Right now, the market is when the market was what it was. Everybody's a realtor. Right.
Sure.
So we have 1,500 agents in our board. We are not a huge market, and it was dominated by dependent models. Right.
Yeah.
Like, you come in, you work at one of the old school dependent model firms, and that's what you did. And it was Keller who, nobody knew about Keller Williams at all. I think they, at one point they opened it up and then they closed it down and they opened it back up again. Kevin Wechter, the OP here, took really what was a failing KW and then moved it into growth mode, right?
Yeah.
So we came out of a small office. I want to say, 2,500 square feet. Our office now is over 10,000 square feet. We have 230 agents roughly at this point. And we're running out of space. We're actually looking at, I have on my desk here, floor plans for the next business center and where we're going to go the next, so all within, again, I've only been KW 4 years, but total all within less than 7.
That's unbelievable. And, you talked about how Kevin, who I love, obviously amazing owner, KW launched there. It failed, right?
Yeah.
He came in, he brought it back. But so were you aware of Keller Williams when it had failed? Did you have an impression of that office when it first launched, or did you know anything? Was there, because look, obviously that's a challenge, right? It's one thing to open a KW office. It's another thing to reopen a KW office after it had failed. So was there any kind of initial impressions about KW that they had to overcome, or was it just not even on your radar at that point?
They weren't even a player at all. Honestly, it was I look at those market share reports now, and we're second, which is, again, in 7 years to be second in the market is phenomenal. We're, I battle those every day. I try to gain market share where I can. I don't even know, honestly, Aaron, I don't even know if Keller Williams would have been on that chart at that time.
Right. And it goes to show you, and actually we talk about this all the time, KW is just a model, man, right? It takes a village, right? Interdependence takes a village, and it's not just great ownership or amazing leaders like you. It's incredible agents like Tim and Colleen, right? It truly takes a village. And that's what I love about, your guys' office is that the who is so solid in Lancaster, PA, that, the foundation that you guys are building this on. And maybe it was a good thing that Kevin took over a failing office because he was so deliberate about building it the right way, and not maybe getting into business with everybody in Lancaster who wanted to join KW. You want to talk about sort of the kind of people that you have built this office on top of. It's not just Tim and Colleen Johns and Kevin and you. You guys have some amazing people that really buy into our value proposition, that buy into culture, that buy into who we are as a company and what we're trying to do. But talk a little bit about the people there and how that has really allowed you to focus on, what you do best and to grow this office at a high level and make it profitable.
Yeah. So Aaron, listen, man, I couldn't do it without, like, I'm the one who makes the mess. You understand? Like,
Yes, I
and
do.
we know each other pretty well,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
I mean, my personality, right? Like I pull stuff apart and I
Sure.
put people around that are good at putting it back together.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I have a great relationship with Kevin, the ROP. He lets me, within reason, right? He
Sure.
lets me figure some things out. I have a great staff here at the Market Center. My MCA and I have a great relationship. Lindia and I, when I came in as TL, you look at these multi-year trends reports, right? And I go like, what? Huh? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I remember I remember flying to Mega Leadership Camp before I was TL, and she gave me homework from Market Center Financials.
Yeah.
And she gave me homework to figure out what this meant, right? What this data meant.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the team around me. We now have Lacey, our director of agent services, who does a great job with K-score and onboarding, right? Yeah. Again, I make a mess with all of that and she picks it up, right? Like we just finishing the end of the month, we onboarded 4 people yesterday. Wow. And she would have loved to onboard them last week, but it is what it is, right? Sure. So I have a director of growth who is basically heat seeker and R1s, right? So when we built this, I look at not only who is our recruitable pool of people, right, into other leadership positions, but who wants to step in. I've learned that I can be a little bit intense for some R1s and some new to business people. So I let Josh and Lacey handle that department. His whole job as director of growth, his whole job is R1s, right? 0 to 7 people, 0 to 7 units, and heat seeker, period.
Yeah.
Right. And then I have my director of productivity, Austin, who deals with all of PC. We now have him, and he manages a dual career PC coach, right? Because we know is this, right? It's tough to get started. We know the failure rate is large, right? It's a big number.
In this moment, right? In this moment,
yeah.
Of course.
And these agents, we have agents coming through K-score, coming into our market center, and they're doing other stuff. It's like, it's okay. Like you can't have the expectation that they don't have any bills or they don't need to make any money, but you're not going to sell a house the first day. So we have a dual career PC coach that handles all the people in that world with just dual career people in PC, right? New to business.
And let me add to that, Ashley. I love the new sort of mindset coming from Mark Willis about, do less more. And, we're going to go after new agents, which is so funny to me because back when I was, doing this at a high level and recruiting predominantly brand new agents to KW, I never understood when a market center would tell me that we don't hire new agents. And I'm thinking, well, we're a cap model. So last time I checked, a capper is a capper. And as Gary Keller would say, Ashley, many of the leaders of our industry 5 years from now, they're not in the business yet. And I got a great example for you because I love looking back at the new agents that we sponsored to KW. Yes, look, a lot of them dropped out of the business. A lot of them went to other companies, but the ones that survived from, the shift of 07, 08, 09, I mean, they're some of the top people in this company. And I look at someone like locally for you, Harrisburg. I don't know how far away Harrisburg is from you, but not too far. Right? I mean, David Becker is the freaking OP of Harrisburg, and his wife, Karen Becker, right? She runs their team. And we sponsored them to KW as dual career agents, brand new agents. I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. And now they're OP and head of a top team, just like you and your wife. And I want people to understand that, we get caught up a lot, Ashley, with, we all love megas. Okay. We all know megas attract megas. They bring listings, they bring reputations and all that great stuff. And we don't want to we don't want to deter anybody from going after a mega agent, okay? Because one of the biggest mistakes people make is they just assume mega agents have been recruited, and many of them have not, okay? But the fact
they don't even have conversations sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact is, a lot of our associates don't feel comfortable going after an experienced agent. Maybe they don't feel valid. They have limiting beliefs, whatever it might be. But I always try to make people understand that, look, guys, new agents turn into mega agents. And I'll just tell you right now, you probably have somebody in your real estate database that is thinking about being a real estate agent. Okay. And so you just never can predict who somebody might become and who they might attract. I mean, look, I was a very mediocre agent from Caldwell Banker. And, my sponsor sponsored one person to KW. But you know what? I have a feeling I'm gonna make her a lot of money and her family a lot of money from what I've become and what I've done at KW. So I just want to make that point, because a capper is a capper is a capper. Okay. And it's agent count.
So
it's agent production. Yeah.
Listen, and I built this organizational model, right? I built this chart. And again, I have great MAPS coaches too. I can't give MAPS enough love, right? Laura Donna is my TL coach.
I love Laura Donna. Yes,
listen.
She's amazing.
So, we built this org chart. It was one of our exercises, right?
Yeah.
And I said, like, okay, so you go deep into that. You go, okay, here's dual career, right?
Yeah.
And I just had a meeting with my director of productivity yesterday about, okay, great. You have 50 some agents there. It's great. Wonderful. Now, who's going to be the next capper?
Yeah.
Right. Like, because they have that thing, right? They're plugged in. They might not even have any sales, but from communicating with them and working in the models. And Austin comes and he says, look, I think we might have 10 cappers this year from PC. I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah. So again, and we built this, we have this pyramid of attraction, right? Where we go, okay, K scores 2 or 3 or 4 a month. R1s 2 or 3 or 4 a month. R2s are here. And then we have indies and we have husband and wife teams and we have all that stuff. So, and everybody has a role, right? In the attraction piece, everyone has a role. So, we gross 10 is our standard. That's our standard. Right. So, and it's not me. I couldn't do it without the people around me, for sure, Aaron. For sure.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because Ashley, look, I know you value a lot of the things that I value in KW. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we want leadership to have the opportunity to build profit share, right? Talent, we want talent invested in the success of KW. And a reason a lot of people take leadership positions is for the ability to grow their profit share. And we love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But how do you manage as a leader in your office, who, by the way, understands, like I do, that ultimately the healthy, your office is going to be more profitable, healthier, stronger culture if, of course, the more of your agents are participating in profit share, right? And look, I see it all the time, Ashley. Okay. I mean, like, I see team leaders that have 60 people in their first level, and I'm thinking that's great. But those, maybe your office would be a little bit more profitable if more of your agents were actually the ones receiving the profit share instead of just growing it around your agents. And look, we get it, Ashley. Look, team leaders' jobs are to grow the office. They're going to either grow it through their agents or around their agents. One way or the other, their job is on the line. So they're going to grow it without their agents if they have to. But talk about the mindset, because I know that you're totally in line with me on this, and you're really about empowering your agents to do the heavy lifting for you. Because look, obviously, if they're serving you up referrals and they're earning profit share, my guess is they're going to be thinking a lot more like a stakeholder. They're going to be contributing to the training, the culture. Talk about that, how you are trying to cultivate a mindset from your agents, right? How are you empowering them? How are you motivating them to get you the referrals so that you can grow their profit share along with the market center? And how does that tie into your overall vision for the office? Yeah. So
Aaron, we peeled this back, right? And we took recruiting out of everything that we talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be clear. We still bring agents in, but we attract.
Yeah.
And I am responsible for giving the agents the tools that they need to attract agents to Keller Williams, right? I don't ever step on those relationships, right? So I have we had a growth committee that was in charge of recruiting. No more.
Yeah.
We have an attraction committee that's
that.
responsible for telling the story about value.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
So we also, and I think in systems and waffles and spreadsheets, this is the way I am wired. So we also have, one of the other things I did is we created a vision and SOP for the attraction committee. And that is no recruiting conversations during an event. We don't do it.
Yeah.
And if I see one of my agents doing it, I go, hey, listen, that's for a private meeting with me. If that person would like to have a meeting with me, then we set it up separately from the event, right? So we do a great job attracting people through our people, right?
Yeah,
and we do that through events. We do it through value. And what I do as TL is I hold all of those positions I just talked to you about, right? Director of Agent Services, Director of Growth, Director of Productivity. They give me weekly, and the attraction committee, by the way, and all the members on the attraction committee, they give me a report every Friday by noon of the reportable relationships that they're in.
Nice.
And that's all we do. And then I go back to those people, not the agents, right? I let them have their relationship. I give our agents the tools that they should use to deepen those relationships.
All right, let's talk about those tools. So what are those? What are some of the tools that, by the way, everybody who's listening to this call, I'm going to guess, has access to pretty much most of these tools, right? I mean,
yeah, of course.
Talk about what this is. So obviously, the first step is build a market center that people love, okay, that they feel like is providing value, okay, that they feel comfortable. Yes, right. There you go. The playbooks, right? So is that
there they are.
Finding that is becoming one of your top recruiting or attractor tools is playbooks. Yeah.
So I said, so one thing that I do, and I send it out to Keller Williams agents too. I send it out to the entire roster every week. Yeah. One play, right? Out of here. I pick it out. I do a little bomb video, where you do this and you juggle and you do whatever you got to do, right? And I say, hey, here's one play that may help your business, right? And if you want the whole book, and I hold it up and I do this in the video, if you want this, let me know and we'll meet and I'll give it to you.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's tons of tools. There's tons of leverage there. Matt Teeter and Brian Martin do a TL 30-60-90, right? And this thing is bananas, right? I love it. I went through it 3 times last year. So anyway, there's tons of leverage in this world, right? Like, so I'll give you a quick example. It's very simple and easy. Free membership to the 201 Plus Club, right? By the way, it's free for everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but you have to tell the story. What does that mean?
So what does that mean? What is a free? And this is something you're offering a value to somebody that is not a KW, right?
Correct. Come to the office during a tech training, learn how you can communicate with 201 people. What that looks, by the way, it's helpful if you have command.
Yeah. Do they get a guest?
But you don't need it.
Yeah.
Right.
How does that look? And do they get like a guest account or anything like that? Or do they just see somebody working through the command and showing people how? Yeah.
Yeah. And again, we offer those tools, we offer those pieces of value to help their business, regardless of whether or not they join Keller Williams. Yeah. You know what happens, by the way? They come to 2 or 3. We did our diversity, equity, inclusion did a great women's event.
I love that.
And then they come to that and they go, how do I join?
Right.
I mean, so again, not everybody, there's always hiccups along the way and speed bumps along the way, but it's interesting. By the way, those appointments for me as TL are unbelievably easy, right? I go, you sign here, right?
Well, the best thing about those appointments or those things are actually is that not only are these potential, and I'm going to call them recruits. Okay, I don't know if
That's okay. I get it. Yeah.
I'm saying, one of the great things
we call them guests.
Yeah, as guests. One of the great things about those kind of events or giving people things of value is that not only is it value based, it's culturally based too, right? Which is, the DEI events, right? What better way to show people who we are as a company while providing value, okay, and showing people how our culture is different and who we are as a company than to get them to that kind of event, or to put them in a room with top KW agents that are sharing their ideas. And this stuff doesn't happen at other companies, as you and I both know. So sometimes it's the cultural aspect of just pure sharing and abundance that is what becomes the factor, right?
I want to give you one other specific example that everybody should be doing at their market center, and we call it Agent Spotlight. Right? So every month I have an agent, not even necessarily from our market. John McClintock's coming next month.
Okay. Yeah. Right? He's amazing.
Yeah. You mean, yeah. So, and by the way, you get a free shoe fly pie if you come, Aaron. So anyway, but the room is packed.
Yeah.
I am telling, so we have a little like graphic we shoot out. I do the value bomb email. And I say, hey, this is coming up, Agent Spotlight. We do it every month. The room is packed. And we just talk about caring and sharing and talk about value, period.
Yeah.
And again, what will happen is if you do that long enough, again, not everybody shows up to everything. It's okay. I get it. But those items of value, the cream will rise to the top. And those agents that want to be a part of it will actually ask you, how do I become part of it?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And you're celebrating your top agents, your top people. And I know as you're learning based, Ashley, obviously what better way to learn how to consult top agents than to learn from your own agents and celebrate them, right? So that also creates and also my guess is that also fosters a stakeholder mindset, getting these top agents engaged and appreciated, because I think that's a big challenge for us right now is, getting top agents engaged in the office, right? Because ultimately, when I go, when I'm out there teaching, okay, oftentimes it's the new agents that are in my classroom, okay, and because the top agents, they know everything about everything, but to get them engaged, to get people like Tim and Colleen to take more ownership of the office, that's how you get other agents in the office to buy in even more, right? Everybody knows you got a job, Ashley, right? Your job is on the line. Your job is to grow the office. But when a top agent that people respect says, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my time to share with my fellow stakeholders, or I'm going to, be an asset to this office. That's ultimately, I think, what builds the culture on steroids, is when the top agents are willing to take a greater ownership stake in the market center. You agree with that?
Absolutely. And again, it's a retention tool. It's a sharing tool. We record all those things. Somebody else other than me chops them up and puts them on all the socials and all that jazz.
Great.
It's okay.
Great. Yeah.
Another thing I want to say, and I want to double click on this because you said this earlier. So as the TL, I actually look for when somebody's onboarding, I have and I talked to you about this, I don't know how long ago, way back when, because you actually sent us somebody.
Yeah.
And I said, look, and I met with him and I said, look, my goal is to not, and I walk through that process of choosing a sponsor. And I am very clear. Listen, I am, as you know me, I am super direct and very clear about it. And oftentimes I say to them, it is not me. Right. It is not me. Right. Because I would like to have more of those warm stakeholder referrals come in, right?
Crazy idea, right?
Listen, and I've had people who go like, yeah, but you helped me, and you gave me this great offer, and I'm signing it because of all the 2 or 3 or 4 meetings that you have, and I go, yeah, but we wouldn't have even had that meeting if it wasn't for who, right? And I walk them through that, and listen. The only way to my opinion is the only way to do this job at a high level and effectively is to foster those relationships all the way down the pike and do the right thing.
Absolutely.
And I do it every time. So,
Well, actually, it's about trust, right? I mean, at the end of the day, people have to trust you not only to be a great closer, but to protect them. And I won't go off on a Aaron Kaufman rant right now because I've come a long way on it. But the bottom line is
Mhm.
it's smart business, actually. I mean, it's just basic business concept. I mean, as Gary has written in the MREA book, treat the referral source as good, if not better than the referral. And if your agents don't trust you to support them, they're not going to send you any more leads. And look, I'll just tell you, I mean, we got a list, okay, of market centers we don't send leads to anymore. And look, that's fine. And I think that's been the big sort of evolution that I've gone through over the last couple of years is just focus on what you can control. Every office of KW is independently owned and operated. Not everybody values the same things. Not everybody is having the same level of experience. But when I know that I'm protected and I'm supported in a market center, then they get leads from me. And look, it's basically, the fact is we want the recruits to choose their own sponsor. Okay. We're never going to change that. Okay. But the fact is, it's our job to support the referral associate and to educate the recruit on what their options are. And we'll just kind of leave it at that. But at the end of the day, actually, if you're a leader, and if people don't trust the leadership team of their market center to support them, then they're just not going to participate in it. And really all it takes actually is one time for someone to get burned, particularly by their own leadership team, to never want to participate in it again. Yep.
So Lacey, my director of agent services, who does the onboarding, and by the way, we use Google Spaces like crazy. That's how we communicate. It's a thing, right? So she actually messages me and says, "Hey, look, Sally picked you as her sponsor. Is that how it's supposed to?" And I'll actually go into the room while they're going on board. And I'll go like, whoa, like hang on. Let's think about, again, it's your choice, but let's think about this to make sure, right? So.
Well, and I love that you say that, Ashley, because one, there's an auditing system there, right? There's a checks and balances, which is key, because nothing drives me crazier than when someone tells me, hey, I didn't even know that they put me down, or I wasn't in the room when they chose their sponsor. Look, you're the CEO of this office, okay? If I was a real estate agent and people were sending me real estate referrals, I don't know, I'd probably nurture and support and communicate with those referral associates. But I think the cool thing is that, you're also, I think the other side of this, Ashley, is sometimes the reason recruits want to put a team leader down or a staff member down is that we haven't done a good enough job to empower our agents or referral associates to provide that value and to follow up better. You want to talk a little bit about how you empower? I mean, look, it's one thing to invite people to training and to give out MREA books and shift books, but can you talk about sort of, how do you develop an intentionality around earning a sponsorship, right? Because look, sometimes you invite somebody to a training class, they have other relationships with people, in that office. And how do you advise your agents on earning sponsorship so that it's not an issue? It's never an issue when you earn it, right? Like when you are the reason somebody joins KW, rarely do sponsorship issues happen. And I understand, being an internet recruiter, how that has created some challenges for us to earn sponsorship because we don't have a personal relationship. But what are your thoughts or your advice to somebody when it comes to earning it? Like, talk about that a little bit. You hear me?
Yeah. So, I have, when I have a meeting with a new person in my office, right? Like I go through that opportunity map, right? And we talk about additional income on this side. I hope everybody's seen that, right? Like buyers and sellers in the middle, expansion maps, KWU, profit shares here. And I stop there and I say, the person that helped you get into this room is what we need to talk about here. And we talk a little bit about the math. I don't overwhelm them about it, but I try to blow their head apart with the concept that where they are now, they don't offer that, right? That's not even a conversation. So I identify that person. I identify that person during that conversation, and then I report back to that person that they've talked about in that meeting, and I make sure that that person follows up with them.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So if there's and again, I use the tools and services to get them to talk about, hey, why don't you come to this? I saw you met with Ashley, and they lean into that relationship. Right. The other thing that I'll say, Aaron, is we have reporting here. Right. So on our pipeline, when I get a warm referral, or I put that person on the pipeline as far as who's going to be holding the appointment, who was the initial contact from, right? And then we share that pipeline across leadership. The director of agent services looks at it, and if it's not aligned at some point, then we have a conversation, right?
So you're doing that proactively, Ashley, so that you avoid
the
majority of these problems, right? Because you're keeping the referral associate in the loop. You're giving them a chance to follow up, to know what's going on, to provide more value. You're holding your leadership team accountable. You're tracking the referral associate. You have an auditing system so that if somebody in leadership is selected as sponsor, you at least go and validate that, which I think is amazing. I want to go back for a second here. Not everybody talks about profit share, Ashley, in the recruiting presentation. Okay. Some people think it dilutes our value proposition in a recruiting presentation, right? Because, hey, they're coming here for training. They're coming here for systems, models, and culture. I'm curious to know, I know you don't dive deep, and I think the recruiting presentation, outside of a recruit asking to understand the how it works and the calculations, obviously we don't need to go into a full breakout of the equation. But you know me and you know my messaging. Do you take that opportunity when you're talking about profit share to talk about how it is actually the catalyst for our interdependent value proposition, and it is the reason why our culture is inherently different? Is that something that you, whether it be in that conversation or at some point in the recruiting presentation, do you talk about culture, interdependence, how it's tied to being a stakeholder? Is that a conversation that's being had in the recruiting process or the onboarding process? Because we're the best kept secret in KW. I mean, for our own people. And I think a lot of people who don't talk about profit share, Ashley, either A, because they're not profitable, okay, B, because they don't think it is it's adding to the true value proposition to KW, or it's muddying the waters of our training. And I heard a great saying once, Ashley, retention starts in the recruiting presentation. Well, I would also add something to that. Profit share starts in the recruiting presentation too. Culture starts in the recruiting presentation, right? So if we're not having that conversation about how those things are connected, who is? When are they going to have that conversation? So I just want to kind of go back and see, do you talk about that? Because that's my message, right? Our culture starts with profit share, right? This is why it's different. Is that conversation happening? Can you hear me okay, Ashley? Yeah?
Yes, that's the answer. Okay. So listen, man, we do this. I do this every time. Hang on. I do this every time. Am I losing you? I had some internet issues.
No, I got you. Yeah.
I do that every time. Every single time I talk about that right there.
Tell us what that is.
And I talk about profit share because other companies are not talking about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might have internet issues. I'm sorry, man.
It's okay, man. We're working through it. And we lost you. Okay. Let's see if Ashley rejoins here in a second. We'll give him a second here to rejoin. All right, guys, just give us a second here. We'll hopefully get Ashley back on here in a second. Up here, he's back. He's back. I see him. All right, he's back. Yes.
So,
back.
man, I have this conversation, man. I draw this on the board every time.
Bring
right?
it closer. Let me
And
see
I
what
will
that
tell.
says.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. All right, passive income, additional income. Okay, so that's basically the KW opportunity map as far as wealth building or opportunities to build passive or active income. And so in that conversation, is there a connection
Yes.
made? Is there a connection made between
Yep.
culture and all of that? Tell me what that looks like.
So we have a conversation about caring and sharing everybody worth the same number, right? And our goal is to get everybody, not just this, the standard is to cap, the goal is to cap as fast as possible. And we do that by helping everybody through that process. I have a very clear conversation about profit share, and it's something that sounds like this. Real simple. You know, it's a result of helping the company grow. It's that simple, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that no other company offers any other realtors as far as our model goes. I know there's rev share and all this other fun stuff, but as far as actual real profit share goes. And then I direct them to our calendar, which Tim and Colleen Johns teach every single month, a profit share class.
Yeah.
Right. So you know, I talk about that at a high level, and I talk about what that looks like, and I also talk about it being willable to 2 generations. And at that point, honestly, if I don't have them asking more questions, I probably have the wrong person in the room regarding a growth conversation.
I love that.
Right? If they're not excited about being able to have profit share from a market center who's profitable every month, right? Then there's probably either I missed something along the way, or it's just not the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
So
and listen, I don't want to, you know, I find myself saying this a lot in these interviews. I just want to make this point again. I mean, obviously, the conversation around profit share is a wealth building conversation, right? It's an opportunity to build wealth, and we all get that, okay? But there are other companies that offer similar wealth building opportunities as far as rev share goes. And I think I just want for the people that are listening here, Ashley, to really understand what I'm about to say. Okay. Revenue share does not create culture. Okay. Revenue share creates a downline relationship, and it's your job to train and nurture them at these rev share companies because they're not a training and consulting company. So number one, it ain't passive income, it's residual income. Secondly, if you participate in profit share at KW, you are not just vested in the success of the agents in your profit share tree. No, you're also vested in the success of every agent in your profit share tree's market centers too, you know? And, you know, Ashley, people say to me all the time, God, Aaron,
yes,
thank you for all you do to grow KW. And I'm like, look, I got a huge financial stake in this company. My downline's in 300 Keller Williams market centers. I am vested financially in the success of every agent in those 300 market centers. Maybe more of our agents should start thinking that way too. And I just think I'm trying to drive this home, Ashley, because I feel like this is the connection. Mm-hmm. This is the dots that are not being connected in our company. And as we grow and as we get farther away from where we started, I worry that connection is being lost because we're not talking about it enough. And so we all agree at KW, the number one reason to come here is our culture, is our interdependent culture. The question is, why is it different? Why is it different, right? And I just want more people to be communicating that in the recruiting presentation, because Ashley, if we don't tell our story, who the hell is going to? Okay, because they join KW and they don't have the, you know, so a lot of these offices don't have an onboarding process where those conversations are happening. Then this agent joins KW. They have no idea why they want to come into the office more, why they want to seek out knowledge and referrals, why they want to be around more KW agents, because no one ever told them. And so just going back to this is that, guys, retention starts in the recruiting presentation, but so does the stakeholder mindset. And if you're not painting a vision and connecting the dots between profit share and culture, don't be surprised when so few of your agents are participating in culture and profit share. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, at stakeholder meetings every month, we talk about it, right?
Yes.
We talk about the numbers. We talk about who got profit share, top 10 earners. Yes. There's a check in our training room that has the numbers on it, right? Like we have all those things. And every stakeholder meeting, Aaron, I go a little deeper. And I say to them, like, yes, profit share is that thing, right? It's a wonderful piece of our company. I will tell people that our Keller Williams agents actually have a responsibility as a human being to actually attract people to Keller Williams. Yep. Right now, again, the profit share is fantastic. We have a great we're profitable, right? Yeah. So it's a thing, right? So, but I will also say in this market, our agents have a responsibility to attract agents. I love because there's pain out there, buddy. Yeah. You understand? So there are some agents who can't pay their bills right now. There are some agents who are having trouble selling homes, and we have the prescription. Exactly. Are we telling the story enough to actually help them as human beings? Right. That's where our mindset is right now.
I love that, Ashley. And by the way, how the hell can you tell the story if no one's ever told you the story yourself, right? Like, I mean, and the fact, and then people probably just miss what you just said, but like what I heard from what you just said is, first of all, you call your sales meetings stakeholder meetings, right? I mean, what you focus on expands, right? I mean, words matter, right? I go into some market centers and they don't have a profit share check on the wall. Or if they do, it hasn't been filled out in 6 months because they've had down months, They don't talk about profit share. They don't get up there and say, hey, here's who's earned profit share. Here's our top attractors for the month, right? Like what you focus on expands. And, I interviewed Joseph Ryan out of Moorestown, New Jersey, the team leader there. And he said something yesterday I thought was interesting. He said, look, man, in this market, agents are not, I'm not going to say they don't care about profit share, but they have other priorities, right? They're trying to sell houses. They're trying to figure out how to, to do a buyer's agreement, all these things, right? Profit share has been dropping down the list of priorities. And look, I'll be honest with you, as I go out and I've been teaching, for 14 years in KW, my profit share class, I've never felt less enthusiasm around profit share than I have over the last 6 months to a year, whether it be market centers wanting to book me or whether it be the people that are showing up to my class. And, I was telling Joseph the other day, I said, guys, I understand that profit share is not a priority, but what should be a priority for you in this moment is wanting to help people, whether it be buyers, sellers, agents, whatever. Everybody's hurting. Everybody needs to be loved on, to be helped. And, I heard a great saying from Ben Kinney years ago, our top agent. He said, look, when you offer the best service, you owe it to people to have them work with you. And you and I both know, Ashley, you get an agent to KW right now in this moment, and they look back 2 to 3 years from now, and they just imagine where their business and life would have been had you not got them here. They'll be grateful to you. And I think that's the mindset we need to get back to, which is not about profit share. It's about being compelled to want to help people, right? And when you're a great agent, and buyers and sellers would be lucky to work with you, isn't that what compels you to help people, right? It's the same thing with profit share. And I think the more you think and act like a stakeholder, the more you buy into our systems, models, our training, our culture, the more this company impacts your life, your family, your business, and the more compelled you are to want to share it with people. And look, there's a reason Colleen and Tim are compelled to share this with people, is that they are living a stakeholder lifestyle at KW, right? They're not in the business of just making money. They're in the business of helping people. And that's why they sell houses. That's why they attract people to KW, because they don't put a cap on that. There's no cap to how many people they can help. Yeah.
Aaron, listen, I know Joe Ryan, buddy. And Joe Ryan was my day one as TL. I went to Moorestown and I sat in his office and awesome. He laid it all out for me, buddy. I love Joe Ryan. Yeah, no nonsense guy.
So we're on the same page, Ashley. I think at the end of the day, that's the mindset you're trying to cultivate as a leader, is that you want to build a market center nobody will ever want or need to leave, and that they are compelled to want to share that with people that they love and respect, right? And it's really that
Yep.
simple, correct? I mean, it's not that complicated to grow the highest evolution of the real estate industry, which is Keller Williams. You just have to have the right people in place, right? The right ownership group, the right leadership team, and top agents to buy into it. Yeah.
And the right messaging. I mean, you have to tell the story in a way. You have to continue to tell it. I tell it, week over week, day over day. I tell it to my people. I tell it to agents outside. I tell it to new to business agents. You have to shout it from every piece, every rooftop, everywhere you are about what we do. And again, I'm going to say it. I believe it is our responsibility to do it.
I love that.
So our market center, Aaron, is growing month over month. We're doing more transactions than we did May of last year. I mean, it's just one of those things. Again, we battle the gross and net. It is what it is, right? We know that happens in today's world. But our agents are more productive. We do bold every year.
I love it.
We're having you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you, my friend.
I know you will.
Again. Yep.
But you know what they say? What does Gary say? The market share you take in a down market, you rarely lose, or something like that. I mean, look, the agents that we get to KW right now, that we help solve their problems, get them out of pain, right? Get them thinking, get their mindset right. The chances that they're going to leave KW when the market shifts back is very low, right? These are the moments when you get your unfair share, right? And that's what I tell people all the time about profit share, is that while all of you are, now focused on just selling houses and profit share is not on your radar anymore, the people that are purposeful, like me and Colleen and Tim, we're going after our unfair share. And when we look back 5-10 years from now, Ashley, the effort that we put into growing KW right now in this moment is going to have an exponential return. Just like the people I brought to KW in 07, 08, 09, who survived the shift. Some of these people are literally trailblazers for KW. And so this is a moment for opportunity, because you and I both know, actually, when the market's up, agents don't have to look at their businesses like business owners, right? But when the market's down and your industry is under assault by tech disruptors, and lawsuits, don't you think agents need what we have to offer right now more than ever? Purpose, community, training, diversity, culture, all the things that we were made for this moment. I mean, just
we have agents all the time talking, the NAR thing, blah. We don't need to talk about that. I get it, right? We have agents all the time coming into our office, having conversations with us about what Keller Williams is talking about regarding that. And I go like, it's funny. I'm happy to help you, but who's having those conversations with you at this company? And they go like, I haven't even talked to the broker about it.
Exactly.
I have no idea. So again, value, we bring those tools. So
And the best opportunity.
It's been an hour already, bud.
I did. It's just you and I with just one of our conversations at a bar in Austin, Texas, or in that family reunion. I mean, these are the conversations we have. So I'm curious, if I may ask.
Sure.
You guys, I mean, what kind of profit share are you earning personally? Are you me?
So I'm not a big number.
No, it's fine.
I have 16 people in my downline.
Yeah.
I have $10,000 of profit share. But I will tell you this. It's tripled since last year.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, and I know,
and I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Exactly.
Right? Planting those seeds, it's going to grow. So.
Right. And so, I mean, look, I'm assuming you, like most husband and wife teams at KW, are you trying to stack your downline where you're putting people under your wife? Yes, correct.
Of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because some husband and wife teams haven't been educated about that, right? I mean, they don't understand. I mean, my guess is, Ashley, that you're earning profit share off of your business, which is being run through your wife. And then everybody you add goes under your wife. And people need to remember, we're not just the best real estate company for husband and wife teams because you share a cap. you also get to double dip on your profit share. And, I mean, Linda and Jimmy McKissick are living proof of that. I mean, Jimmy's got one person on his first level, and that's Linda. Okay. And he, that combined, they make well over $1 million a year. But just once again, I think people need to remember that can be a conversation that can be had with a husband. And why would anybody be a husband and wife team in another real estate company? I have no idea why that would happen. Just from the financial model here, it's like, I mean, you could probably pay off your cap and, by attracting 2 or 3 people to KW, not to mention what you're making off your business. So, Ashley, what are some parting shots for you as you kind of, talk to somebody in your office who says, hey, Ashley, look, man, I get it. This is an amazing office. I see the power of profit share. What would you tell somebody, like, step by step? Here is what you need to do if you want to get purposeful about profit share. And I would assume one of those things would be just look at what Tim and Colleen are doing and try to model after them. But what are you telling your people who say, I want to be purposeful about this? Because you and I both also know that this is not just like in real estate. You're not limited to your geographic market. There's referrals that people should be getting outside of their market. The same thing goes with profit share. But what are you telling your people from an action step? What are the steps to get purposeful about profit share and have success with it?
Well, the number one thing on our market center is to join the attraction committee, period. We have big conversations about that. We talk about, again, they are very purposeful in that approach. So if you want to grow,
anybody can join the attraction committee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's 12 people on it right now.
That's awesome.
I mean, so it's by the way, it's our most popular committee. Right. We talk about that. Colleen and Tim are on there. Deborah Burke is the ALC chair for that. And they do a great job having big conversations. And I lean into them having those conversations and those relationships. So that's number one. Number two, got to come into the office and you got to be part of the culture and you got to come to the profit share classes. You got to come to stakeholder meeting, all of those things, because it's hard to tell the story, Aaron, if you're not part of it.
I totally agree.
So, and it has nothing to do with how many lock boxes you unlock or what your goals are for business. We can certainly help you grow that too, right? But if you want to create passive income through profit share, you've got to come and learn about the culture and be a part of it. And, stakeholder meeting we had last Tuesday, right? Come and eat a cheeseburger. That's what I tell. Just stop in. Be a part of the meeting. Eat a cheeseburger. We had a cookout, by the way, because that's what everybody, it's cookout week, I guess, right? So, but again, I would suggest to them that they come in and be a part of it, learn what it's like, have the feeling of what it's like, right?
Yep.
When we have agents come to our office for a meeting or a settlement from another real estate company, they go like, I had trouble finding a parking space. What's going on in here? Right. And that is the fun part of the conversation, because they go to the other offices and there's no one around. No one around. So that would be the number one action step for me from our perspective inside the market center. And I would suggest going to a couple. We have a great region, by the way. Michelle McBride, John Clyde was part of our region for a long time. So, they do a fantastic job with, business planning clinic, right? Michelle just put on a women's event. So again, we invite all of them, and you just need to lean into the culture, into the training, into the events, and you will inherently have those conversations just because you're a human being. And I believe that. So,
and I think you make a great point there, Ashley, because, I've stepped foot in pretty much every market center in KW. And if you're having trouble getting your people to come into the market center physically, maybe it's because you're not providing the value that you should be providing, right? Because I love the fact, because Ashley, this is about building a market center that delivers on value, that has people that buy into being a stakeholder, that compels people to come in, because there's always top agents willing to help. There's an overflowing training calendar. There's cheeseburgers. There's culture. There's community, right? That's where it starts, right? You have to build an office that people that are compelled to come into. And then from that, they then are compelled to share this with other people. But not everybody.
Here's my wife.
Hey, come on in. Yes. Excellent.
Here she is. She got to put her stuff down. Look, Aaron's here. You know Aaron.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for all you're doing to keeping Ashley sane. But listen, guys, we're at the end here, Ashley, man. I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your schedule. I can't wait to come back to Lancaster. You're one of my favorite market centers because of the people that are there. Your OP, you, Tim and Colleen Johns. And I just think that people try to complicate our model too much, right? It's really pretty simple. Okay. Follow the model. Okay. Follow get into business with the right people, empower your leadership team, empower your agents, build an office nobody ever wants or needs to leave. And your agents will do all the heavy lifting for you. And all you have to focus on, Ashley, is loving on your people and continuing to be an amazing leader. Dude, I can't thank you enough.
I want to say one more thing, Aaron, real quick.
Yeah.
And I will say this: we don't go a month without somebody leaving either. And I just want to say this because I think it's important, right? So we leave the door, and this was hard for me for a long time, right? Because I get pissed off. It's just what it is, right? So it's okay, but we leave the door open, and we leave it wide open every time.
I love that.
And I continue. Next to my office is a guy from Remax. He was at our office, started at our Keller Williams, went to Remax for 6 months. He came back. He's next to me now in the building. We're growing his team collectively together, right? So he was calling our agents, trying to get him on his team at Remax. And I called the guy and I said, look, instead of you calling our people and me saving them from leaving, why don't you just come back to Keller Williams and we'll build it together, right? Exactly. He now has 4 agents on his team. He put 9 deals under contract in the last 10 days. I mean, he's killing it. And the reason why is because we left the door open when he left.
Yeah.
And he went over there and he came back, and I can guarantee you hate to say never, but I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon because we have given him so much value and we honored him when he left. Right.
Yeah, dude, and the bottom line is actually you show up every day, man. You show up every day.
Yep.
There's a certain level of consistency. I mean, look, when you took over this job, Lancaster wasn't where it was today. Okay. But you put in the work, you showed up every day, you loved on your people, right? You come from contribution, and that consistency, I would guess, is what's been the real key to your success, right? Because there's no, magic pill where all of a sudden you just snap your finger and everybody is giving you referrals, right? They have to trust you. They have to see that you show up every day. They got to see that you're in the business of helping people, right? And that when they attract someone to this office, that they're going to have the same experience that they're having, right? And dude, that's what I love about KW is that it's such a great litmus test for ownership and leadership, right? Not every office is created equal, but we all went to the same, the same training. We all have access to the same technology, the same systems. Not everybody is leveraging them. Not everybody's showing up like you guys are. So keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to come back to Lancaster and tell my 2 favorite people, Colleen and Tim. I said, hey, I'm sure they're watching right now, but
I'll get Philly's tickets for us, buddy, when you come back.
Oh God, no. Oh, definitely not. I'm in a bad place as a Braves fan these days. My number 1 pitcher and my number 1 hitter are out for the year. But I do love the enthusiasm that you guys have for your baseball team. So, but I am definitely friends with too many Philly fans on my Facebook feed. All right, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks for all you do,
man.
All right, man.
I appreciate you. Thanks for the opportunity. See you.